YouTube founder community, Otis Redding fans, random people on the internet. My name is Giggens, and we are here today to talk about Otis Redding's last solo album released in his lifetime. Complete and unbelievable. The Otis Redding Dictionary of Soul. My. One of my absolute favorite albums by him, and of course one of his absolute classics. This has gone down as being one of his most important, influential, memorable albums he ever made. It's just loaded with classic Otis soul. You can't go wrong with any song on this album, and he co-wrote a bunch of these. This happens to be a Barnes & Noble exclusive on light blue vinyl, which came out a few years ago, which looks really cool, and I'll show that in a second. But yeah, I mean, Otis Redding at this point in his life was just on top of the world, blowing up as one of the biggest soul stars ever. And it's really sad that it never kept going. You know, I mean, he obviously, Dock of the Bay was a humongous hit after he passed away, and it would have been anyway, purely because it was something different. It didn't follow a lot of what he had done already at that point, but at this point in his career, I mean, he was riding high on the whole big horn section thing, his soaring vocals. I mean, this album, man, I absolutely adore this album. The thing about Otis Redding, too, is that he puts so much of his... I mean, if you see pictures of him live, he's just a ball of sweat. I mean, he puts so much soul and energy into his performances. And from what I read, he sounds like he was a nice dude, which is really cool. So that when you hear him sing, you're hearing it from the heart, which just makes the performances transcend time. It doesn't matter what year you hear this album in, it will blow your mind. Yeah, this came out October 15, 1966, hit number 73 in the Billboard charts and number 5 on the R&B charts. And his backup band, of course, Booker T and the MGs. How can you go wrong with that at the Stax Warehouse there? Or Volt, if you will. Yeah, absolutely love this album. So track 1, Fa 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 Fa, sad song. One of his classic songs, one of his classic singles. Only Otis Redding could pull off a refrain like that and make it be not completely irritating. You know, he makes it so enjoyable because his voice is so charismatic, characteristic, and full of just his personality. The music swings calmly as Otis just pours his heart out. I like the slightly timid horn section that kind of plays along gleefully in the background. The jangly piano is really nice. This song hit number 29 in the Billboard charts and number 12 on the R&B charts at that time. There's a great version of him doing this live from, I forget what album it was. It's a posthumous release, I'm pretty sure. It's live in France or something. And the whole, your turn, that kind of stuff works so well in a live audience because that's what the song was intended for, was to have a call and response with the crowd. So it's a definite people pleaser of a song. It must have been an absolute hit to be there in person, have him sing to you, and then for you to sing to him. So very cool. And then the album jumps into full gear with I'm Sick, Y'all, which is one of my favorite songs on this album. The drums just punch the hell out of the speakers. The electric guitar adds a real nice funky kind of vibe to it, and the horns balance so well against Otis's vocal. We've got Otis basically trying to rein himself in at this point with how much at the end of his rope he sings. There's only so much he can do before he just lets that whole soul out. That story is going to pour out of him. And the rhythm section is so tight throughout this whole song. One thing that blows my mind about his tracks are that, they could be just as bombastic and strong as his vocal performances were. So the band and him played off each other and each other's strengths so incredibly well that you get a recording that's both musically interesting and vocally interesting, and you combine that together and you get Otis Redding Dictionary of Soul, man. So cool. Tennessee Waltz, I kind of like this one, how it's got more of a tender, pain-filled kind of vibe, which Otis does so well. The piano for me gives off a bit of a nostalgic feel, kind of thinking back to the Lost Love kind of thing. And the bass is really nice in this one. I feel like it kind of rounds out the whole thing, gives it a little bit more of a rubbery kind of substance. Not rubbery substance. It gives it some nice dynamics underneath it all. I mean, he makes the song his own. It's an old song, but it sounds like he lived every tear-soaked vocal throughout the whole thing, or tear-soaked lyric, I should say. It's one of those things where Otis can, It's just like they said about Carl Wilson, how he can sing the phone book. So could Otis Redding. I mean, he just makes it his own. It's unreal. Um, Sweet Lorraine. Sweet Lorraine. Dancing, swinging, totally in the midnight hour kind of vibe on this one. But I love the tight shifts of how the organ playfully fills out underneath that funky R&B groove. And Otis just sounds stoked and joyous and romantic all at the same time. It's like he's trying to flirt with you through the speakers, and it's just a real fun experience to listen to. Just a hot track, real cool. And then you get Try a Little Tenderness. I got to pause for a second because this song is absolutely one of the best recordings in the history of music. And I'm not just saying that just, again, blow smoke or something. Like, this is one of the most show-stopping pieces of music that the 60s or any other time ever produced. It's an old song. It goes back to the 30s. A lot of people have done this, but no one has ever done it the way Otis did it. In the sense that it's a real smoky atmosphere. It's a song that builds. It's a song that grows. And it doesn't let up the entire time. There's really no chorus per se, beyond just repeating the line, Try a Little Tenderness, which I guess you could call a chorus, but it doesn't feel like that. It almost sounds like we live our lives, right? You go through your life. You age. You grow. Things change. You know, you do repeat a lot of stuff, but things are different, and things escalate, and things become more and more, and things build. That's how this song feels to me. It feels like a life. It feels like you're living with this relationship. It feels like you're experiencing this relationship firsthand as it changes and grows, and you're there for every step of the ride, and you're there for every step of the heart that grows more fond for this love. And you're strapped in the whole time until it gets to this gigantic propulsion of cacophony that just cannot be contained and restrained, and just explodes to the point where Otis is just screaming his ass off. I mean, it's an unreal performance, how it goes from this quiet, delicate, beautiful track to this bombastic, in-your-face expression of soul and love. What a song. I mean, it's an unbelievable track. It really is truly amazing, and it's one of those things, again, where it feels like he wrote it because he plays it so well. The anticipation throughout this track, it locks you in. It's one of those songs you can't turn off because you're kind of like, what's going to happen next? It's an amazing track. It's an absolute knockout track, and I mark my words, one of the best songs, one of the best recordings ever recorded in popular music is Try a Little Tenderness by Otis Redding. Went to number 25 in the Billboard charts and number 4 on the R&B charts and number 1 in our hearts because it's just a knockout of a track. If you haven't heard it in a while, put it on. It's just meant to blow your damn mind. And then you get his cover of Day Tripper, and I gotta be honest, man, this thing is almost better than the original. I mean, the way he takes this track and completely transforms into his own thing, just like he did with Satisfaction. Knockout, man. He takes it and totally puts it on its head to make it sound like he totally wrote it. You would have never guessed that was a Beatles song, ever. Usually when you hear a Beatles cover, there's some influences there. There's some chord combinations. There's some background vocals. There's something that tries to sound like the Beatles. This sounds like an Otis Redding song, and I love it. I love the loose vibe of the not the chorus, of the verses. I'm just sitting there thinking about this song and forgetting how words go. Yeah, the way he changes the verses completely and changed some of the words up a bit. This song was made for that horn section, that down, 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 translating into a horn section. Perfect R&B shuffler, man. What a groove. I mean, hats off to Booker T and the MGs and Otis Redding for doing that cover. Absolute knockout. Side 2 opens with My Lover's Prayer. It's tender, it's honest, it's passionate, it's a ballad of just your outpouring of love. I mean, one thing Otis is always good at is expressing his love, and really making it feel like it's yours. It's his, but it's also yours, and it's something you can share with somebody. Be like, hey, this song really makes me think of you because Otis is singing about it, and that's how I feel. I can't express how I feel, but my man Otis can do it. It's about two people trying to figure it all out, and we've all been there. So it's a great song. She Put the Hurt on Me damn, this song is good. I mean, this one hits harder musically than vocally, which I think is kind of interesting. But the bass on this thing is great. You know, it's smooth, but it's also kind of bouncy. I love the swells in the horn section. Man, hell of a song. Ton of joy. This one's really cool. The bass on this one also got me, you know, a bit of a lumbering kind of vibe throughout this one. Kind of like an organ that's trying to gasp for air. Little blips here and there. Kind of chill drum hits, and the accents of horns are really nice. You know, more shifts and dynamics on this one, which I think is pretty cool. And great placement in the track listing. I think it's, sequencing-wise, a nice place to have it. You're Still My Baby. This is another one on this album. It's another one of my favorites. Classic slow burner Otis Redding. I mean, it's the use of empty space is perfect, and that's kind of where Otis can excel. When there's room for him to kind of just do his thing on top of the music, damn. You know, that longing, that coolness, that atmosphere of, you know, it's empty, but he's filling it all up in the right places is just a perfect mixture. And I love the lingering extended outro. I mean, just a great song. Hog for You, total blues ripper. Otis hits some higher notes vocally, which is really cool to hear him do. And the band just burns it up, man. It's smooth, it's raw, it's cool, it's funky. You know, it's blues done Otis Redding style. Really loving that one. And then Love Have Mercy, the last track on here, that dancing piano, kind of a fierce guitar work. The bongo break on this thing is cool. And Otis is just stretching his voice out like crazy on this one, too. What a loose, fun romp for a closer track. I mean, it collects all the energy the album built up, concentrated into one song, and everyone's just playing top knots. Awesome way to close this thing out. So here's the back cover, which is great because you got the Dictionary of Soul, which is basically his phrasing and his sayings that he has in his songs. So you have, like, you know, what does fa 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 mean? It means a sad song. What does ooey nee mean? It means getting gooder by the minute. What does yeah nee mean? It means an agreement to give in very quickly. I mean, it's nice to have some definitions up there, but check out the blue on this thing. Check out that blue. The lighting actually kind of does this justice. I mean, it's a really light sort of sky blue with a yellow Volt label there. Absolutely love that. And like I said, this came out through Barnes & Noble. It's an exclusive there. They still have them, so you know, it's definitely worth picking it up. And it sounds really good. You know, the pressing is really nice. So yeah, this is easily one of my favorite Otis albums, and I'm so happy to finally have it on vinyl. Because every time I've ever come across this over the however long I've been collecting records for, it's always been beat up and well loved and well played. It's never been destroyed. It's been well played. And I've wanted to have one that sounded good. So I bought a new one, which is just, you know, I'm the first one to have it. So this is my copy. I'm the first one to play it. So, yeah, man, 10 out of 10. Hands down, all day long, 10 out of 10. Absolutely love this album. I really don't have anything negative to say about it at all. It's just a total knockout performance. It shows that Otis was one of the best of all time. And some of his recordings that he made, like I said, I think Try a Little Tenderness is one of the best recordings ever made. So, like I said, if it's been a while for you, if you haven't heard it in a while, put it on. Put some headphones on, put some good speakers on, put your record on, Spotify, just play it. In fact, play the whole thing, especially I'm Sick Y'all, because that song is so fun. So, 10 out of 10, all day, every day. My name is Giggens. This has been Otis Redding, The Complete Dictionary of Soul, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.